Hi everyone, welcome back to Love All the Tennis Talk Show. I am your host Nicolette, serving you the tennis news that you need to know. I'm like just matching the ball today. Okay, so there are many stories coming out of the Australian Open that I am here to catch you up on. Okay, so let's jump right in with the current events. First story from Business Insider reads, a Canadian tennis player called Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer a little bit selfish for not speaking out about the poor air quality at the Australian Open. The big question was, if there's smoke everywhere and like smog, then how is the air quality going to be for these like professional athletes, at this major tournament? And so I think Roger was asked about it and just said, I believe that they are not trying to put us in danger, and whatever they conclude, I am behind that. And Canadian tennis player Braden Schnurr said it's got to come from the top guys. Roger and Rafa are a little bit selfish in thinking about themselves and their career. They're near the end and all they're thinking about is their legacy, and they're not thinking about the sport itself and trying to do what's good for the sport. So these guys need to step up. So Schnurr is ranked 103 in the world. Yeah, so basically he was just saying that after one of his qualifying matches for the Australian Open, and like the next day he posted like this huge 5-paragraph thing on Twitter just saying how the article was taken out of context. Like, I apologize to Roger and Rafa. And it's like, I understand what he was trying to say, and maybe it was the air quality was worse in the beginning of the tournament or before the tournament because he was a qualifier, so he was like playing the qualifying matches a few days before. He's just like putting a target on his back. It's like, maybe don't start off by saying something like that. He hasn't really made a name for himself yet. And so to be like saying that they're selfish, only thinking about their careers, and they're just thinking about their legacy, like they already have a legacy, like they're good. Do not be coming after the two most like popular players in tennis and most accomplished. Even in the Business Insider article, it just says a Canadian tennis player. It's like, boo, no one even knows your name yet. So the first thing they know about you might not want to be this calling, the two greatest players, two of the greatest players, selfish. And also, I just cannot say this without bringing this little aside up. Braden Schnurr, a few months ago, this was even before I made the Love All tennis account like on Instagram. So I was just like my personal account. I like follow a bunch of tennis players, obviously. And I randomly like got this follow request, and like I have a private account, so they come through like because I have to like accept them. And it was like, Braden Schnurr would like to follow, has requested to follow you. And I saw like the blue check mark, obviously. So I was like, what? Someone like verified wants to follow me? And then I like looked at the Instagram and it was a professional tennis player. I was like, what? And so I like looked him up, like Wikipedia'd him, and I was like, okay, he's legit. He's a legit tennis player. I was like, what in the world? I mean, probably because I just like liked something on ATP or like Tennis Channel or Tennis TV, and like either him or like his PR person, like you never know, probably knows, yeah, like go to people who follow tennis players, follow them, and then they'll like, follow you and then like you and become a fan. But I was just like, oh my God, that is so crazy. Like someone wants to follow me. And so I was like, yeah, let him follow me. And then a few months later, when I was like doing the Love All, and I was like, oh my God, remember this random tennis player that followed me? And I looked back and he had unfollowed. And like for that, I will always be salty and never forgive. So like, not to be rude or anything, I'm sure he's a great tennis player, but like if Rafa and Roger are worried, the top dogs, we're good. But anyway, hope that the wildfires actually are getting under control more and that everyone's okay. So, second story is Caroline Wozniacki accuses opponent of gamesmanship during Australian Open win. And I did not really know what gamesmanship was, so look that up, and it kind of just means like the opposite of sportsmanship, like you're trying to be sneaky and be a snake. So Caroline Wozniacki has pointed the finger at her second round opponent at the Australian Open, accusing Diana Yastremska of faking an injury. Wozniacki had won the first set, then the second set, she was up 5-4, and the Ukrainian Diana called for a medical timeout. And I guess Wozniacki was saying, obviously she tried to break my rhythm At 5'4", I don't think there was anything wrong. She was running just fine. That's just a trick that she has done before. So I knew it was coming. And I was like, what? So then I was reading a little bit more. And Kiki Bertens also said, I played her she was asked about it and said, I played her 3 times and 3 times it's happened. So that's my answer. Basically saying like, yes, this girl has a reputation or has a pattern of these medical timeouts. And then also the Australian women's tennis player, Ayla Tomljanovic, I think I'm saying that right. She was dating Nick Kyrgios at the time. And when she was playing her, Nick Kyrgios had tweeted, because they were dating, that medical was trash, which is like, Nick, do we really need to be like tweeting during your girlfriend's matches? But like, obviously he had to. So that is a pattern that has formed. And if all these people are saying it, I kind of believe that it's true. Caroline Wozniacki has already expressed that she is retiring after the Australian Open. And at this time, she has so many accomplishments. She's retiring after the Australian Open. So she really has there is no point for her to be like bashing someone or like feeding into petty drama if it just is drama and she's just annoyed at her. This is obviously something like she wouldn't just be throwing this accusation out there, I don't think, if it wasn't something serious. Like Caroline Wozniacki, I'm sure doesn't really care at this point. She's leaving, but she just wanted to call out gamesmanship when she sees it. So I was reading into a little bit more about this girl because I had never heard of her. And I was like, this makes sense. This Ukrainian player, Diana Yastremska's new coach is Sasha Bayan. And if you listen to the last episode where I talked about this Sasha Bayan coach dropping Kiki Mladenovic, like one of my favorite players, I just didn't think it was right for her to for him to drop Kiki. And now, so that already put a bad taste in my mouth. And now that he is with this criminal, just makes sense. And she was only 19. And if she already has this reputation of faking these timeouts, I don't know why you would want to be known for that. Like, you're just starting out your career. Maybe just like practice more and like be better. And so I guess the coach just thought he had to try to do some damage control. And this is what Sasha Bayan actually said. I just really cannot stand him. He said on Twitter, just to shut some people up and end this useless convo. Diana was really struggling since days with her leg, but since y'all are all doctors and coaches, you know better than she herself or our whole team who's working on her. Focus on your #focus on yourself. First of all, that y'all just caught me off guard. Also, his Twitter profile picture is him black and white topless. I really cannot take him seriously with anything he is saying. And first of all, yes, I think that Diana was faking the injury. Even if she was actually injured, she's already done it so many times that no one's gonna believe you. So it's the girl who cried wolf. So if she was actually injured, that actually sucks. And if you weren't, you just got called out on it and don't like that you got called out on it. So story number 3, French tennis pro Elliot the American way is Benchetrit, but I think it's French, Benchetrit, blasted online for asking Australian Open ball girls to peel banana. This was one of the very first days, and I saw this all over social media. I actually did not know what was going on, and I was like, okay, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but nonetheless, I wanted to cover it. So a French tennis player was blasted on social media this week after he was reprimanded by an umpire during a qualifying match at the Australian Open for asking a ball girl to peel a banana for him. So there was this video going around on Twitter and Instagram, and it was just him sitting during one of the changeovers, and he has a banana and he passes it back to the ball girl and says something, and she looks over to the umpire, and then the umpire said she's do it yourself, that's not her job or something, and then she handed it back to him and he was okay. But everyone on social media was annihilating this man, being wow, Elliot, she is not your servant. She is not your slave. He was shocked when he had to open the banana himself. Wow, such entitlement. What a diva. Oh my God. I was okay, we can stop berating this guy. I just think, obviously there's always a backstory more than what you see on social media. So this is what he had to say about it. He said, at 6-5 in the final set during the changeover, I asked the ball girl to peel the banana for me as I had to put some cream on my hands in order not to sweat. She had done it once before at the beginning of the match, but the second time the chair umpire stepped in and told me that the ball girl was not my slave and I had to peel the banana by myself. I find it incredible how the situation got out of control on social media without people knowing what really happened on court. So obviously there are two sides to this. Like if there was a pattern that had formed like the other girl where he demands that his like shoes are tied or bananas are peeled or water bottles are opened or whatever from the ball people, then I would be like, okay, it's okay to slam him as like privileged or call him a diva or entitled. But this was like one time and he's like, I literally just put the stuff on my hands so it was slippery. And like she had peeled it before. I think that, yeah, maybe the umpire was like, listen, you're just like, do that yourself. But people are like, wow, that umpire really stepped in and told him off. I don't think he was slamming him as being an entitled, like privileged person, but he was just simply being like, listen, just peel your own banana. I don't think it had to get like that crazy. And I don't think that this guy's like really that much of a diva, but it just sucks that like social media and the internet can make small things that are just like a clip of something and just a section of something what happened and make it like this huge thing. Like he doesn't need the entire Twitter community telling him something that had already been taken care of. And I just find it kind of sad that it's like his name was like dragged through the mud and he's just like an up and coming player. So I don't know. I don't think it was that big of a deal, in my opinion. Like people just latch on to like the smallest things and make it like huge. Okay, so our next story is about another person I just cannot stand. I don't know why this episode is full of like, me not liking anyone, but Sharapova, Maria Sharapova, uncertain about future after loss at the Australian Open. I believe that she had received a wild card to gain entry into the Australian Open. And I actually think that a few people had things to say about that. I don't want to like say anyone's name because I don't know if it's actually that person that said that. So I'm just going to say I think someone said this. I don't know why this person that was suspended for illegal drug use is being rewarded with a wild card. But so it begins. After losing in the first round, Maria Sharapova said she wouldn't predict where her career was headed. And they call her right out. Her Grand Slam losing streak up to 4 matches, Maria Sharapova surely was aware questions about her future would be coming. After being asked if this might have been her last trip to the Australian Open, she said, I don't know, shaking her head and looking down. It's tough for me to tell what's going to happen in 12 months' time. I don't know with Maria Sharapova. I mean, she's one of the most famous players ever. I obviously knew her growing up. She like had the drug situation and was banned. Obviously, she wanted to come back after that because I don't think it would have been nice to like end on an illegal like substance charge and suspension. So she wanted to like come back, but it's just not great to see someone who was like an idol just like losing and losing. So I don't think she really wanted to say anything. I think that she's going to finish the year, but she must be thinking about retiring. And then on the other hand, the next story is she is angry. Serena Williams coach Patrick Mouratoglou opens up about Australian Open loss. And she lost in the third round. And I was actually watching a little bit of this match. She had lost the first set, like was coming back in the second set, and we're like, oh, she's good, like she's gonna crush her. And then I kind of turned it off and was doing something else. And then I saw later on social media that she had lost, and I was like, oh my God. And she had said, I'm gonna be practicing tomorrow because like this just can't happen again. Her coach said, I completely get that she is angry. I'm disappointed too. It's normal. But this is going to help because for her, she's going to come back or going to go back to work even harder. She wants to win a Grand Slam again. She wants to win several if possible. And she will work very hard for that and will work hard every single match. We're not worried. We just need to understand, find solutions, go back to work, which we will do soon because Serena wants it and we will do everything that we can to get it. I actually like she's really not making excuses. She's just saying, listen, I lost. I don't want to lose again, so I'm going to practice harder. I think that's all that she can do. I really do believe that she has it in her to win to at least one more, if not more, slams. I mean, there's only 4 slams a year, so there's only so many chances that you can do this. And she just won her first title a few weeks ago. since she gave birth, but it's like I didn't really realize that it had been that long, because she's still playing, you still hear her getting into like the late rounds, but like she just like can't pass that threshold in, I guess, slams anymore. You're like, oh no, she'll definitely get, another one, but then you're like, will she? Like, again, there's only so many that are even, not an opportunity for you to win. And then obviously she wants to surpass the Margaret Court's record of 24 Grand Slam titles. But also I thought it was weird in this article. It says, recently Margaret Court spoke about the chances of Williams crossing her. Court, 77, felt that while reaching 24 titles itself was a task, beating it remains even more difficult. In quotes, it says, she said, it's interesting. She may equal it, but she's got to pass it. It's an ask. There's a lot of young players coming through. I was like, what? I didn't think that was that encouraging, to say the least, to say the very least. This woman is 77. I don't know if she's just trying to hold on to her title or what, but she wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like, yeah, she's so close. I think she can do it. This is great that there's another person so dedicated and so talented in the sport that she could even like reach this. She's basically saying like, well, she might get there, but it's not that hard. It's not that easy. So I was like, wow. Not exactly sportsmanship, Margaret Court. And like, she needs to be brought back down to earth because you played with amateurs. Anyway, I might try to do something about the rest of the week and see how the rest of the week at the Australian Open goes. But I'm moving this weekend, so I am like, even to do this right now is like, I really should be packing, but had to like make time. Bring my mom in to talk about Resurfacing, because we watched the Andy Murray documentary. It was just so good. Yes, I think I'm gonna do that. Okay, so I brought my mom in to talk about the documentary that I said we just watched. Hello, Mother.
Hello.
Of course, I'm like, did my makeup and like have lip gloss and everything on, and she was just helping stain a kitchen table that I bought for my new apartment. And so I would just like kind of yanked her upstairs. I was like, can you just come in and talk about this? And she had no time to do makeup or like anything. So thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
Anything for me. Anyway, so we just watched the Andy Murray Resurfacing documentary on Prime Video. It was something that I had wanted to watch for like a while because I saw that it had just come out a few months ago. As you know, were we the biggest fans of Andy Murray?
We were not, but after watching this now, we just liked other players. I think better. And then when he stopped playing and he got injured, then all of a sudden I missed watching him.
Yeah, and like
on
his
TV.
whereabouts and like everything.
Like it just wasn't fun to watch without him there. And
we really felt his absence.
Yes.
Was like
his absence was definitely felt, and I'm surprised because, like I said, I wasn't originally a big fan.
Do you notice how people always say, "Oh, the top three," or the top four versus the top three? Like when Andy Murray was in, it was like, oh, the top four guys,
the top four guys.
Now it's just then he like kind of was injured or whatever, and they started just saying the top three again, because people would say, like, when people would say the top four, I think other people would say, well, it really should only be the top three. This guy's only won like 4 Grand Slams, the other have won like over 10, and then
but he was present everywhere.
Right. That's what I think.
So even though he didn't win
there was a little bit
as many Grand Slams, I still think he was a top 4 player. I still consider him a top 4.
That's what I guess. Yeah.
Like and I think that's why when he stopped, all of a sudden it's like wait, where is he?
Is like. Well, yeah, part of this.
It just wasn't the same watching it recently. The last, 2 years now?
Yeah, like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, in 2017 he had like a hip injury, but I think he's had problems with his hip for a while, or so the documentary made it seem. Like even when he was young, like he had some sort of issue, or was always like they were tending to. Remember they were said, and
I think so,
where a lot of like
I'm thinking it was a problem, not necessarily an injury, but just with overuse.
Or something. Yeah. And they touched on at one point that's where maybe some of his frustration came out, and he was very like emotional and like whatever on the court because of his frustration with his hip. So the documentary followed when he kind of was out on injury, just rehabbing, trying to get better, trying to find solutions. Basically the journey was from 2017 to 2018, or it followed 2019. I'm sorry.
2 years.
If there's one thing that I took away from this, it's like that man works so hard. Like he was doing literally everything he could to come back.
Yes, that was incredible. All the rehab and the work that he was doing, and you have no idea if it's going to help. That's really sad.
I didn't realize that he was number 1 when he went out. I thought he was just in the top 4.
I just can't imagine.
I know, because he was
work your whole life.
Yeah, there's something else. Oh, it was just like they really showed you the day in and day out. He's just in a gym or like a hospital room every single day, and he could do stuff. It wasn't like he was bedridden for the entire time.
But I think, like he said, like normally an athlete has an injury, you do a little rehab, and it gets better over time. It seemed like he wasn't getting better.
Yeah, like it was
the way he was supposed to.
It's not like an injury where time will heal, this too shall pass. It wasn't. It's like
working out.
And they even said, not to give everything away, but when he had the second surgery, people who have this surgery, it wasn't to bring him back to play professional sports. It was to literally be that he could walk,
so he wouldn't
and live pain-free.
I think that was the thing. He was having pain just about it seemed like every day, no matter what he did. So you can't live like that either, let alone you can't play the sport.
But then we just saw
he was out
like literally a few days ago.
No, it was like the day after we saw the documentary.
Yeah, and I was like, because I was just looking stuff up, and I'm like,
I know. So it's very sad. We did cry during the documentary. You must watch it. One little part that I just found adorable was at one point he was playing and one of his daughter was watching. I mean, just a toddler, and she's like, "Oh, there's Daddy," like on TV.
That was
so
cute.
It's nice to see that little that part of the player, because you just see him professionally on the court. You don't really see them interacting with their family. And I mean, they never showed his kids, which is fine. You just saw like the back of them, but just a little back of her head down there. It was adorable.
And I totally respect that with all of the players, keep at least toddler age or infant.
Trying to keep them.
For Djokovic, we didn't see his 4-year-old son until he won Wimbledon, and they showed him, and I'd always seen the back.
Reasons,
I totally, I respect that. I think that's good that they should do that. But a selfish part of me wants I want to see Djokovic's daughter. I know she's so cute.
I like to see the wives. I like to see girlfriends. I like to see the families.
Yeah, I like to just know the information that they don't want me to know. But yeah, that was nice. And then what else? Oh, and we were right. I think I touched on this a few episodes ago about him being around Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, he was.
You'd be like, oh, so-and-so saw him at this club. So-and-so saw him at this club.
One of my kids were like, we just have a picture.
Someone saw him at the mall. Someone saw him at the mall. And I think the only reason he was at the mall is because there's this salad place called Sweet Green in the mall. It so happened that he was training 5 minutes away from the mall in this gym, so it would make sense that he was not shopping or anything. He was going to the salad place. So we were all just we spoke to people who saw him just the other day, and they were like, oh yeah, we thought that he was just training for the US Open. I don't think it was extremely common knowledge. He was getting another surgery. I don't think anyone even knew about the second one. I don't think we knew
anything about him. We had no idea why he was in Philly.
Yeah. And people just assumed he was just training, because we were like, oh yeah, we're 2 hours from New York, it makes sense if you wanted somewhere. This is a very low-key area. They said when they saw him in the mall, no one was going up to him. No one. I mean, even Roger Federer. To be honest, even Roger Federer, people would be like, "Why are you in Philly?" But people would recognize him and know who he is if he was walking around the mall. Andy Murray's a little more under the radar. I feel like
possibly not. Why?
Yes, it's a very random area to go.
But what? Why would you think this is Andy Murray inside the King of Prussia Mall? It's
right.
Just, he's
not American.
It's a random place, so I may not have recognized him myself because I wouldn't think that he was there.
We were talking to actually another mother and daughter that we do cardio tennis with, and they said that their son, they both didn't really recognize him, and the son that I don't know if he plays tennis or not, younger son was telling them, isn't that Andy Murray? And the two tennis players were what? But they said they went up and he was super nice, and they got a picture with him and everything, which was nice. And she said she was wearing her tennis shirt. Anyway, but yeah, you can't help but have a connection with him and love him after watching it, because you just see that he is human too. I know. It's just unfair. Well, I mean, I guess. And he really is trying everything. It's just at a point there's nothing more that you can do.
Even they were showing as he was getting injections. I just can't. And you could see him flinching. Ugh.
Yes, they went in the hospital.
Thinking of a needle and just him even letting people, tape it.
Yeah. Brave.
I don't know. Very brave.
I don't want him to go out like that. He doesn't want to go out.
But I mean, if he can't play tennis, I just do hope that he's not in pain every day. No. I mean, even his wife said no one could tell him when it was ready to stop.
Yeah, he had to make the decision.
He had to make the decision.
And they said, like, because at the time, remember, he like said he was retiring, kind of. But then, like, he really didn't. He said, so, but like, I remember social media went crazy and everyone was like, so sad to see you go. But I was like, is he retiring? I hope that he can come back and play professionally and play like at the level that he was. And if not, I just hope that he's like
pain-free, that's all.
And he can, you know, is finding other things. Like, he has a family and obviously that he loves and like that loves him, but some other stuff that he can like pour himself into. Okay, time for the ins and outs. I didn't tell her because I just wanted her to react to
anything. I don't know anything that's going on.
I just like drag her in here. I'm like, come film. Okay, so the ins, or do you have any of the Australian Open or anything?
You tell me what you've got and then I see if I have something to add to it. I haven't watched too many matches, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's hard because I just wake up and I check the app and I see who like won because we're like so,
it's hard to
the
watch
time is so like, off.
Although this time last year I was there in person.
Yeah, but you weren't at the Australian Open.
I know, but I still got to watch it in real time.
Yeah, I know. And like, so her and my mom and my sister went to Australia last year and they will not let us forget it, even though like my dad and my mom went 2 years ago. Like, I went a few years ago. My other sister went because you're from there and we have like family there that we visit. And you and Brenna keep saying, but we're so depressed. We wish we were in Australia.
I know, but we were there together. That's why.
Yeah, but she's like acting as if every time you talk to someone, like a relative or something from Australia, me and Brenna cannot stand that we're not in Australia anymore. We are sobbing. First of all, you're not sobbing. Second of all, like, I want to be here right now in the freezing cold. We all want to be there.
I'm silently sobbing every day. Trust me.
Anyway, I know. I would love to be there too. Anyway, speaking of, my in is the amount of money like raised and awareness raised for the wildfires from the Australian community. I mean, from the tennis community.
Yes.
I think it's millions that they have raised. I don't know what everyone has like pledged different things. Zverev was $10,000 every match that he wins, and then if he wins the whole thing, he'll give all the earnings to the wildfires. It's like,
wow, I didn't realize that much.
I mean, like, I also said, no offense, but do you think you're gonna win? I'm so mean, but like, he doesn't have the best track record. You really don't know. You never know.
With tennis,
he doesn't have the best track record with, but like that.
Yeah, but these guys are also talented.
But then if he actually had, if he was saying if he won his first Grand Slam, like, he was gonna give all the earnings to the wildfire like fight. So yeah, and people affected by it. So that was really nice. Like, I don't know why I'm being so mean about him like, winning.
I don't know either.
Yeah, who do I think I am? Like, I can literally, we had played tennis this past, I had off from work one day and we played a round robin, like, together. We were partners, and like, when I tell you that I thought I could play tennis and I was humbled by a 13-year-old middle schooler and all these other women in their 50s, no offense, and I was really brought back down to earth, and I walked out there like, wow, humbling.
But you haven't played a real match since high school.
Like, we've been doing cardio tennis, but it's not like tennis and like
to play a match and serve. Yeah. It's a whole different ball game. Yeah. So you were warmed up after an hour and 45 minutes,
and it ended in 2 hours. I was like, okay, wow.
It was still fun.
Humbling, to say the very least.
It was still fun.
And yeah, it was super fun. Tennis is always fun though. It just is. And then like Kyrgios. I have such mixed feelings about him, like, so mixed, like, incredibly mixed.
I know. Well,
you love him, or do you
love him because he's Greek and Australian. What can I say? I have to support both homelands, and he's such a talented player.
He is, and I think that
he's maturing a little bit. I'm seeing a little bit of maturity.
He wants to. I think he like wants to play, like, do better. Before, he like couldn't care less. He was just like, yeah, I just play, but I even like basketball more. I don't even like playing.
Yeah, but that could be a defense mechanism.
I don't know.
Who knows? I don't really know. But
when he does take it seriously,
but he's very fun to watch.
For sure. When he does take it seriously, he's great. But then just some stuff, I'm just like, why do you have to like say that or like do that? And he's just like a little immature. But like, I mean, who am I to tell?
But unfortunately,
like, really, you just go see it. Yeah. So they've really, I think the tennis community really came through with all the money. And again, I said I haven't heard that much about the wildfires, which means I hope that it's under control.
I think it's getting better.
Okay. Then my out. I only have one in. And then my out for this week. The Nike outfits
I haven't
this
seen
year.
them really because I barely watched any tennis.
Yeah, you saw Kyrgios's one. It looks like watercolors on his shorts.
I thought it was like board shorts or something. Yeah.
No, yeah, it looks like that. And then did you see Grigor Dimitrov? That's what they were talking about at tennis, where it was like bladder pajamas
or something.
Yeah, and then Serena's dress.
Serena's like polka dot.
Yeah, it's like polka dot with flashes. Like
I don't know.
The dress itself was okay, but the pattern,
but it wasn't like a tennis dress. I don't know. It was just odd.
It was a cute dress.
I don't know.
But it was
no.
I mean, not the pattern, like the shape. But it's like Nike is just trying to do bigger and better,
like weird
stuff. It's like not even cute. At all. Like I know everyone's trying to push the envelope with everything and like normal is ugly or normal is like weird.
What was somebody said like the tight sweatpants or something?
I don't know about Dimitrov, what he was wearing.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go online now and look at it because I haven't seen it.
It was like last year with the what did they do last year? It was I just thought because I was like, ew, and last year they did this and I just did not like it. Oh, I think
I can't remember.
Oh my God, I don't know.
Year.
I know they had like a black collared shirt. I don't know if that was throughout the year, if that was just for Roland Garros, because I know they had that.
I don't remember.
And they had like the high neck. There haven't
been good outfits.
I just know that Nike.
I like Djokovic's stuff.
Oh, Lacoste.
The Lacoste is adorable. The green and white is very cute.
I'm a classic.
Yes. I don't like all this crazy.
Yeah, it's like I get it. I like the Fila, how it's like color black, the blue and teal. It's okay.
It's okay.
But like I haven't not been impressed. I love Adidas. I think Adidas and Lacoste are my favorites.
Lacoste
outfits
so far.
And everything. And yeah, I've just not been impressed with Nike in the past few years.
Yeah.
And usually it was like so fun, unless it's Wimbledon because I love the all white.
Yes.
And you can't really go crazy.
Oh, years ago I would go and buy it because it was just so cute. Was like now it's like, no, I'm not buying anything.
At this like little boutique, I used to work there, and they'd be like, oh, this is the new like what everyone's wearing at the US Open. And they'd get shipments of it and they're like, oh, this is what this is wearing. And it was like so fun and people would come in to like literally buy what they saw someone wearing. And now it's like, I do not love it.
Yeah, no.
Anyway. I can't wait to see what the next few weeks bring.
Yeah, well,
the tennis world does not stop turning. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Mother, for coming in. And we'll see you all in a little bit. Thanks. Bye.